Hey everybody, it's Rob. We're just about to get started with this week's episode. Less than 10 minutes left. While you got a couple of minutes here, why don't you go check out otheanthem.com. It's where you can find everything Oh The Anthem, including the merch store, the podcast, and all of the videos. Open up a new tab.
Anchor.fm/Oh The Anthem is the place where you can get direct links to all the podcatchers you use to listen to our show every week.
Did you know we record every episode live on Facebook? Of course you do. But make sure that you're liking the page and turning on notifications so you get notified when we go live.
We make a ton of video content between the podcast, the short films, Heretics. YouTube.com/Oh The Anthem is the place for it all.
And of course you can find me on any social network at Robert N. Cheek.
And me at LegendCB5.
And you can find the podcast at Oh The Anthem on all your social networks. It takes so long to load. That's the problem.
So,
Yeah.
there just so happened to be a lot of things that happened in Baltimore for this past week.
Oh, yeah.
So should we start in order or should we start with the big ticket items?
I mean, like, here, off the top thing, Corey has been saying for, I don't know, every year, every episode of this podcast, don't get in the harbor. It's a bad idea. By the way, it's Swimmable and Fishable by 2020, which by my calculations is
tomorrow.
2 days from now. Oh, yeah, 2 days from now as we record it. Tomorrow as you're listening. And last week, a woman fell into the harbor and died.
Yeah.
So I'm not thinking Swimmable, Fishable by 2020 is gonna...
Wouldn't it be hilarious if it was Stephanie Rawlings-Blake?
I mean, it would be better.
I didn't get a name. I'm just hoping it was...
Come on.
I'm gonna prove these motherfuckers wrong. Start jumping in the water.
Wonder what about what?
Well, we haven't seen or heard of a girl, and...
Oh, Ma, come on, seriously?
Not that we would think that, but, we want grandchildren.
Girl first. Need girl, then we get kids.
Grandkids. They're already talking about grandkids. Don't even mention that when she gets here.
Of course. But I'll be thinking about it. Oh, is that her?
Who else is it gonna be?
Oh, go and get it.
I'm going.
Oh, shit.
Well, that's a nice greeting.
Sorry, babe.
So excited to finally meet your family.
I know, me too. Listen, before we go in,
What is it?
well, you know basically everything about me.
Well, at this point, I would hope so.
Yeah. But, my parents, the reason I haven't introduced you to them is because,
What is it?
well, they're different than you and me.
What do you mean?
Well, listen, you're great.
Are you ashamed of me, Tommy? Is that why I've never met them?
No, not ashamed. Never ashamed. Opposite of ashamed. It's just that,
Superman?
yeah.
What about it?
Well, my parents are Baddicks, like, really, really, really intense about Batman.
So?
So they expect me to date and marry a nice Batman girl.
Oh, I see.
Yeah. Look, I know they're going to love you. It's just that once they get to know you, then we can ease them into the whole Superman thing.
Alright, Tommy. Alright, I just wish you would have given me some kind of warning.
Trust me, they're going to be so happy to meet you, I promise.
As long as I believe in their hero.
Please don't do this now, Steph.
Do what, Tommy? I'm not doing anything at all.
Then why do I get the feeling that I'm in trouble here?
I don't know. Why don't you ask Batman about it?
Shit.
Are you going to keep her standing on the porch all night, Tommy? Invite her in already.
I was going to, Ma.
Tommy, she's beautiful. A real gift from
Pop,
Anthem,
she's
huh?
right here.
It's lovely to meet you both.
You too, dear. Please, please come in. Dinner's ready.
Great, I'm starving.
Suddenly I'm not so hungry.
Oh, Tommy, you're such a joker.
You actually have some sort of really weird intestinal cancer that only seems to be caused by people who swim in shit. Like swim in a river of shit.
Yeah.
And then like just like the moment just sort of like hits me like flashback style, just like
Fish.
and I'm like
Smack.
I'm back at Oregon Ridge jumping in a lake going like I love the water.
Never put it in your mouth. Never
Yeah.
put it in your mouth. Why
Well,
would
I
you
never
do
thought
that?
about it until just that second when all of a sudden it's just like, yeah, you got about 3 weeks because you have
Advanced bowel cancer?
shit creek cancer.
Yeah, I feel like though that it's not just that
It's the type of cancer we've only seen from kids in Flint.
it. A whole separate issue about.
By the
liver.
way, it's still not fixed.
Not fixed.
Just by the way, it's still not fixed.
And it's-
And they don't have water coming their way anymore because they're. I mean, there's a small degree of pride that I feel when our men's basketball team is blowing out like
You mean when a
Poland by 70 points or
when
whatever.
a team of professional basketball players beats a bunch of young men from a country who occasionally play basketball?
Yeah.
It's the Generals versus the Globetrotters,
Right.
over the course of a summer. Yes,
That dream team though, with
The
MJ,
92
yeah,
dreams? Yes, the 92 Barcelona
Oh man,
dream team.
that was great.
No, that was literally Globetrotters because they were doing behind the back passes.
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
No look, and the team from Poland is just like, what game are we playing? I don't even know if this is basketball.
Wait a minute, isn't that technically traveling?
NBA
We
rules.
don't call it here. we don't abide by that rule in America.
He
Boom.
literally picked up the ball and ran from midcourt. It's MJ. He's allowed to do that. It's okay.
I think the one thing I noticed, and this is my only take on this,
Yeah.
because I don't get into the false patriotism and I don't get into the desire for America to win fencing or anything like that.
Yeah.
Because, I mean, there's some sports I just don't care about. This week on the Oh the Anthem podcast, Lamar Jackson is your MVP, and we talk about the Super Bowl. The Oscars are this coming weekend. We talk about what's going on with that. And in the news of the week, God, is there a lot? Impeachment, Iowa caucuses, Alan Dershowitz just fucking giving it all up for basically a king, and a whole lot more. You do not want to miss this show because we are jam-packed this week, and we can't wait to see more coming up right now on the Oh the Anthem podcast. Don't worry, guys. I was totally prepared for this moment. This is Corey, and this is the Anthem podcast.
Good afternoon, everybody. It's Rob, and it's Palindrome Day. Hi, everybody. Do you guys know what a palindrome is? Well, today's Palindrome Day. Thank you for joining us for episode 304 of the Anthem podcast, coming to you from the hashtag OTA LA studios, high above the 110 freeway in downtown Los Angeles, California. Thank you for joining us.
Yeah, thank you so much for listening. The best way to do it is on anchor.fm/OTheAnthem, where you can find links to every single podcatcher available for this podcast. Some aren't linked. I found out that some aren't linked there because they just get their linking from iTunes. So if you have problems, you can find the RSS feed there too. So if you listen on some lesser known podcatcher, you can also get us there.
Although, why not just go to anchor.fm? That is the place. Listen on Spotify.
You know, I normally don't subscribe to being one of like only a handful of companies handling podcasts, but I think between like Spotify and Apple and Google and a handful of Pocket Cast, which we both use, I think there's a lot of good options as far as like quality podcatchers out there.
Absolutely. And of course, you can find more The Anthem at The Anthem on Twitter and Instagram. And you're probably watching right now at facebook.com/The Anthem, where you can find more information there as well. All the videos are available at youtube.com/The Anthem. And everything The Anthem related, including the merch store, which has some new products you should check out, is available at otheanthem.com.
Yes, indeed.
So, wow, boy, do we have a lot to get to today and not a lot of time. The countdown is on for Superbowl LIXVN.
It's Live. Super Bowl Live.
Live. Is that what it is? LIV? So that would be Super Bowl 44.
It's a Super Bowl that's going to make you not want to close your eyes.
Wait. I am embarrassing myself with my Roman numerals knowledge. 54.
Yes.
LIV. 54. Yeah. Yes. I don't want to get into it. Anyway, here we go. Sports ball. Oh, wait. Nope. There we go. So, yeah, I am already in...
Flawless execution.
I'm already in Super Bowl prep here.
Nothing like a Mike's Hard Lemonade to really make you a angry drunk.
Well, I mean, to be fair, Mike's Hard Lemonade, the drink of every American dad during Super Bowl time, and it's basically just lemonade. I don't really feel.
All
bad.
you're doing is missing the chitlin.
Basically, yeah. But sports ball, very exciting week. Of course, the Ravens not playing in the Super Bowl this week, but we had the second best bit of news that we could have received.
Yes, Lamar Jackson is the unanimous pick for MVP. The Ravens put out a video of children writing letters to Lamar. Did you see that thing?
I did
shared?
not see that. No.
Oh my God! Somebody was cutting onions while I was watching it. It just got a little bit too real for me.
Aww.
And you know what? I think that what is so wonderful about this whole thing is that there's an adjustment being made. I'm not moving. It's not an earthquake. Trust me. I think the thing that was so nice to see about it was that the.
We have no more room for camera movement. It's going to have to be a Corey movement.
Is that I totally lost my train of thought with that whole thing. You're just trying to
Letters to Lamar. Sorry. The disembodied arm that enters the camera frame and pulls you to the right. Letters to
It
Lamar.
reminds me of the John Candy thing from SCTV where he's playing Orson Welles, and it's just like, "Why are you moving frantically? I'm not at my mark. Move your camera."
It's a very Orson Welles thing.
Letters
to Lamar. That's what we were talking
letters
about.
to Lamar.
Sorry. Yeah.
Children writing letters to Lamar, like about how they inspired him and how they inspired the children, and it was very sweet. I feel like Ravens Productions have been knocking it out of the park for the last couple years with both the pregame videos and stuff like that, like the hype up videos and everything that they do has just been aces. And this was another one, and doff of the cap to them.
Yeah, and a shout out to a high school friend of mine at Ricky Phoenix on Instagram. He works for the Orioles and Ravens Productions.
Oh, nice.
And you met him before at FanFest, where he was working the cameras.
Gotcha.
But he also works the games, and he works in the production department there. And they are killing it. Absolutely, they deserve all the praise. But no FanFest this year.
Yeah.
Wonder why that might have been.
No fans. That's
They didn't want the. I guess not. Is it not Buck? We don't know. Is there a new manager? Is that happening this year?
No. Hyde still.
Hyde. God
Yeah.
damn. See, I didn't even watch this year. Did not even watch. Yeah, they didn't want Brandon Hyde to come out and sit at a stage and be like, "Oh, there's the three people out in the audience." Like, "Hey, I got a question."
One of the questions is like, "Do you think this team is going to move to Memphis?"
Follow-up question. Do you guys have any trash cans there back in the back? Because we hear that's a good way to win games. I don't know.
Oh, some fine American citizen decided to listen through all the at bats of the 2017 season and like figure out like all the times a trash can was hit, and then just sort of left all the data open for baseball nerds to like break through and figure out like batting averages for specific situations and stuff like that. And it's just, oh man, I can't wait for what happens with that.
Heart-wrenching part of that. It's a Houston Astros fan, and he's just like, "How dare you do this to me?"
He's like, I needed to clean myself of these sins. So here's data.
So I'm doing the only thing I know how. I'm putting my head down. I'm watching every at bat. He made a web app that would just fast forward in the games between pitches. So it listened for the sound of a ball hitting a mitt, and then use that as a reference point for a pitch.
Yeah.
Rewind it a few seconds, and that was its serve point for him. So it would give him all the pitches. And I'm like,
masterful job.
Thank you very much, sir. And then, of course, because the 1% on the internet, they were just like, well, that means you didn't watch all of every game, so you don't know for sure. Like, all right, man. All right.
This'll do. I don't.
The data shows that there was a lot of trash can banging.
I mean, like, I think baseball is important. I'm a baseball fan. I don't need people going through this like the Zapruder film. Like, the Astros cheated. It's fine. I know. I kind of know what happened.
Oh my! All right, but yeah. So back to the topic at hand, which was Lamar nominated unanimously, only the second player to be unanimously voted the MVP. The first of which was Tom Brady in his ninth technical season. He was drafted in 2000, didn't play really until 2006. So his fourth season of full play, 10th.
I thought it was like it was like the end of his second year that he really like.
Well, so I was, and maybe I was wrong about that. I was trying to remember when Bledsoe went down and he came in, but he was in a 2000 draft. I'm pretty sure. That may not be
I can
correct
figure
either.
this out.
Yeah. Nonetheless, it's very early in his career for Lamar, because not only is it his second year in the league, but it's his first year playing full time as quarterback. But I'm relatively certain that Tom Brady was drafted in 2000. The scrawny picture of Brady is him being drafted in the 6th round of the 2000 draft, and then he played behind Drew Bledsoe, which is a name a lot of you probably don't even know because you're too young. But he was the quarterback for the New England Patriots for a very long time.
Yeah, so it was 2000 when he was 23 that he joined the league.
Yeah.
Played in one game, 1 for 3.
Oh.
And then it was his second year in 2001, which is the year that they won the Super Bowl, I believe, where he was started 14 of the 15 games that he played.
Oh, really?
Yeah, it was 11-3, and that was the end of Bledsoe.
Wow. Okay, so then he played 9 years until he got the unanimous vote as the MVP, because that was in 2010.
2010, correct.
And then Lamar won it in his second year in the league, his first year as full-time quarterback.
I wish they did a better first team All-Pro in 2010. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah, so that would have had to have been the MVP year there. The unanimous MVP year.
So
obviously, he had other years where he was.
And wait, was 2010 the year they went undefeated and lost?
It could have been. Hold on.
Yeah, I think so. They went undefeated.
14
and
2. No,
No.
it was 2007.
Well, I guess because you don't win the Super Bowl, you don't win the MVP. But
Well, I mean, Lamar didn't win the Super Bowl, so
true. Oh, that is very true.
Yeah.
Sad. Thanks for reminding me, Corey, on this sad day of all days.
You know, it's funny though. I was I have many Chiefs and Niner fans on set with me this week. And I was joking around with York, who is a big Chiefs fan. I was like, was wearing my Ravens gear yesterday, and he was just like, still holding out hope. And I'm like, well, you know, a lot of the Ravens just happen to be in Miami for the awards. So maybe if something unfortunate happens to the Chiefs on the way to the stadium, they're just like, oh, let's just get Lamar in here. We'll give the Ravens a 14-point bump because they've been practicing all week. We'll handicap them 14.
Although if I do that math, I think the Titans are in the way of that actually being.
Yeah, but there's
done,
not
right?
enough Titans down in Miami right now. It's an emergency. We were just doing the math of like how long it would take us to get to Miami if we were to go to the Super Bowl right now.
Because I believe that if you would still like to go see the Super Bowl, there are tickets available starting at $5,000 to get in the door. Unfortunately for us, we would also need a plane that travels at Mach 2 to make playoffs.
Listen, I got the money for the ticket. I don't know if I got money for the plane.
I don't know, Elon. Elon, do you got a plane that flies Mach 2? I mean, we might be able to
Where's
make
this
it.
fucking Hyperloop I've been promised?
I know, Jesus. I thought I was going to go down to the corner and jump on the Hyperloop, and I'd be in Miami in 4 hours.
The
2 hours.
worst part of the Hyperloop is that I would still have to go to fucking Santa Monica or something like that to get on it. And I'm just like, that's just a bridge too far. Yeah, sure, I could get to San Francisco in an hour, but it's going to take me 2 hours to get to the Hyperloop location.
Yes, folks, that is at LA for you.
There's an LA problem.
It's 14 miles away, 2 hours to get there. But yeah, so the Super Bowl, though, is this week. It's actually in approximately 45 minutes it's starting. So if you are treating us as your Super Bowl pregame, what the fuck are you doing? But thank you for joining us. But yeah, I will say I've heard a lot this week of the like subtle like, my team's out of it, so it's hard to get excited.
Mm-hmm.
And I also work in the music industry, so there was a Overheard LA that I really related to, which was like, who's playing in the Super Bowl this week? And the response was, J-Lo and Shakira. And a lot of people who I heard talking about it weren't talking about the 49ers and the Chiefs. They were talking about the halftime show.
Rachel's been talking about the halftime show for weeks now.
Yes.
Like just casually going like, it's going to be so much fun. It's like, all right.
And,
There's a maybe the Ravens would be playing in this game. This was back in those days when I still had hope.
And the other comment, of course, is that it's the Super Bowl is the little bit of athletic play that interrupts the amazing commercials and the J-Lo and Shakira concert. That's really what
I am
everybody's
looking
at.
forward to the all-electric Hummer preview that we're going to get during the thing. I think that's going to be an interesting.
I mean, I think it's going to be great.
1,000 horsepower.
The 1,000 horsepower, all electric. It has, a 2-mile range. You'll be able to go anywhere down to the 7-Eleven and back. It'll be fantastic.
They make it an electric car, but it's just the most fuel inefficient electric car.
It's a bumper car, essentially. You just got to pull it in.
Got to charge it for 24 hours. You got about 12 miles of range. Enjoy yourself. You're going to look really cool driving to the Beverly Center and not being able to get back.
This is how Hummer does electric. Thanks, American Motor Group. But yeah, I will say that I was trying to get a little hype for the Super Bowl, but kind of in the same feeling. Like, if the Ravens had been out of it maybe longer, I would have been more excited because then you kind of choose a team. I probably would have backed the Chiefs.
Like, if we were like Dolphin fans and we knew there was no hope and like...
middle of the season, you start saying like, well, these Chiefs are looking good, and like I can follow them and see how they're going, and they're in the playoffs. And
see, but I feel a lot of the people would have gotten on the Ravens bandwagon because I feel like there were a lot of people who were just like Lamar fans at a point this season, and then they would have gotten eliminated too, and then like they're just like, well, what do I do now?
Yeah. But it's hard to get into the game when you were so close and just fell short. But
there is a part of sports, and baseball especially is going through this, where it's so hyper local, where you follow a team, and I mean, like some kids will follow like players. Like it's not so much that they're Warriors fans; they're Steph Curry fans,
right.
Yeah. And it's not so much that you're a Ravens fan; you're a Lamar fan. And if he was on the Raiders next year. God, please don't. But I mean, like, if he was on the Raiders next year, then there'd just be a lot of people who are like having Lamar Jackson Raider jerseys,
All I'm saying is if he was on the Raiders next year, that's a really good excuse to make 8 trips to Vegas in the fall next year. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah.
Although we wouldn't be able to get tickets because at this point it's probably sold out. But yeah.
Listen, go there a day early, win roulette alive.
Here's what
yada yada yada. Raider tickets.
We're taking $500 to Vegas every Sunday. We're just gonna put it on black, and eventually we're gonna see a game. How's that math work out? Well, eventually we're gonna hit, and when we hit,
one of these days we'll be watching it from the owner's box. Just you watch.
Either that, or we'll decide to buy one of the casinos.
Shoe money tonight.
You think you win big enough at MGM and they just give you the keys to the casino and they're just like, instead of the payout, how would you like to own your very own casino? Here you go. Enjoy.
I just wonder what the day at the office if like some like frantic employee of MGM like runs into the office of the casino manager and he's just like, so there's a guy, his name's Corey. He just won $5 billion in slot machines in the last hour, and we were just going through the tape, and it's just pure luck that this actually happened. Like
he had his eyes closed for some of the rolls.
It literally, there's no cheating involved. We were like, we inspected everything. It's just on the money, but now we have to give him $5 billion. I mean, like, do we just give him the casino or what? Do we tell those people we sold it to? Like, no deal. We got a little cash flow situation in here.
Listen, you can sell it if you want, but this guy is the one who owns it now. Our papers are no good. I don't know what to tell you. But anyway, Super Bowl, yes. I will say that as a person who doesn't have a team playing, but a team who made the playoffs, I am suspiciously looking more forward to the commercials. The halftime show I could do without. I don't really care to see.
I mean, I'll see it because I know there's going to be some sort of moment that people are talking about involved with it.
Yes.
So I feel like to be part of the conversation.
Well, I've done this slow inception where I've convinced the other members of our party to move a second TV out to the viewing area. And at some point when the game either gets out of hand or very near halftime, I am suggesting we just hook up the switch to the second TV and just play Smash Brothers through the halftime show. That is what I am planning.
Good luck with
insidiously.
that one.
So I guess we'll see. But
Real quick, so what we're doing here today is that we're doing the live stream before the Super Bowl.
Yes.
And then we're going to come back later, and not live stream that part, but just come back later and do a quick little thing for the people who are listening on Tuesday when this thing drops, sort of talking about what happened during the game. So before we get into it, how about we have a ability to make fools of ourselves by making predictions of the game before it happens, and then immediately people will know whether or not we were right or wrong.
So we're just going to cut directly from this to us after the game?
Right.
Well, first, I make a prediction that one of us makes a sound similar to what you made after Drinko de Mayo won, where you just leave. There may be a chance that you cut back from this and you see me like this in the chair.
So Rob, how about those Niners?
I don't even care, man.
So anyway, it's a 1.5 point spread in favor of the Chiefs.
Yes.
Do you have a pick? Do you have a favorite you're going in with?
I think it's the Chiefs, and I think it's the Chiefs by 14 plus. Yes.
So not a close Super Bowl.
I think it will be close up and until the second half. Probably mid-third quarter. Patrick Mahomes is just going to say, you know what, enough of this. And he's going to go over to Andy Reid and just be like, I'm going to call the playbook now because you clearly don't know what you're doing. And then stop trying to Ruxin us. I'm going to go handle this game. And he's like, did you just call a double end around? No, I'm not running that play. Give me the ball. And then he's going to run
Just grab Andy's surface and just toss it into the stand.
No more.
You're done.
We don't need the trick play.
I am also going with the Chiefs. I just my personal feeling on this game is that these two teams are really close, and when two teams are really close like this, I like to go with whatever team has the best player, and I think Patrick Mahomes is clearly the best player on either side of the ball on either team. So I feel that he will have something to do. He'll probably be Super Bowl MVP and find some sort of way to win this game.
I mean, I think also, though, their coach, all jokes aside about Andy Reid, that Andy Reid wants this. He wants this bad, and he will hopefully not Ruxin the team, but he will be like overthinking every move and like, no mistakes. Let's do this. Let's get it done. And I think the pressure's on for him because he knows everyone's looking at him now. Like,
I almost feel like Shanahan is sort of in the best position in the Niners because it's like if they win, then great. They were the best team and they should have won. If they didn't, I still feel like there's an element of the Niners that's too early.
Yep.
Like they weren't supposed to necessarily be here right at this moment, and that, you know, they would be the instant favorite for next year.
Yeah.
Even if they lost, just because of how well they did this year ahead of schedule, you know?
Shanahan's what, like 30 years younger than Andy
Yeah,
Reid? Like, he's got time.
Yeah, there's plenty of time for Shanahan to figure out a win here. Yeah, even if he doesn't. But
I mean, same for Jimmy G. Like, I think nobody had any expectations.
The same could be said for the Chiefs and Mahomes too, because I mean, like, you know, Patrick has a lot of time left in this league to be able to win his Super Bowl and stuff like that. But I just feel like my gut tells me to go with the best player. Yeah. And that's sort of where I'm going on this one.
And using a baseball example, as spoiled as we were by the Orioles in 2014, I think it was 2014, when we had to go up against the Kansas City Royals that year, that was a stacked team. Yeah. That was a team that was headed to the World Series, and it was hard to be the ones who were in the way of them going to the World Series. Yeah. And I feel like the Chiefs are, in a lot of ways, that team this year. Hard to be in their way. Luckily, we didn't have to be. But they have everything firing on all cylinders going into the big game. So I guess we'll see. But so I guess you're going to see how correct we were because we'll take a break right now. And for the people who are watching live, you're not going to have a break. But for those who are listening, our predictions will turn into what actually happened.
Yeah, so let's just hit the sports ball to cut us out here.
All right. But
all right. On to the other news real quick.
Yes. Oh, wait. Let me
since
run
we
that
have-
for your consideration splash that we had.
I was speaking with actors, and I said, "Are we serious about this?"
Yeah.
And I was made assurances that there would be a wardrobe here the next time we're all in the same place.
Oh,
And,
I mean, they were both here yesterday. I saw no
I
wardrobe.
wasn't though. I was on set, so it wasn't gonna work.
I don't repeat my
This shit
comment.
doesn't shoot itself.
If there is a person of our friends group who is the Lucille Bluth of the friends group, it's definitely Corey. Oh my. Anyway, so for your consideration, it's Oscars week, so
I was
sure
originally just gonna put the Michael Cera like walking into the living room,
Just
and
like
falling
that.
over, but I saw that I was just like, no, it's too perfect. It's too perfect.
Of course, we would love to talk about Oscars, but it is weird, as it is probably every year, that so many things are back to back on each other. And we always love to have a friend of the show and well-known movie critic, Jim Gisriel, come on, and we could talk about the Oscars. So, obviously, the Oscars are happening. I have not seen any additional movies in the last week that are Oscar contenders. I spent my time watching things like Brawl in Cell Block 99. Which was entertaining, but is not up for an Oscar this year.
Yeah. Other thing that's not going to be up for an Oscar next year, by the way, Fast and the Furious 9. Unless they add a category for what the fuck? That bridge is not attached to anything.
It will, though, have a chance at, wow, what were we talking about? Golden Globes?
Yeah.
Where it's like, I don't know how they got their special effects to work.
How is this a musical? How is this nominated as a musical?
First of all, I don't put it past.
Just because it's got Ludacris in it does not mean it's a musical.
Hole in the Fast and Furious universe. In Too Fast, Too Furious, Ludacris is a character, but there is also a song by the artist Ludacris playing in his garage. Does that mean there is another person named Ludacris who is in this
A
universe?
song called Too Fast, Too Furious.
You think this universe has holes? Oh, we are jumping into the Fast and the Furious universe. No, so we are going to reach out to @JimForce on Twitter, where you can find him, and see if we can nail down some time to do an Oscars, maybe a preview.
If not, we're long overdue for having Jim on for like maybe rewatching a movie or
movie
something like that.
commentary.
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely so. But so the Oscars are up. We haven't seen anything new. I am going to make an effort this week to run out and try to see the last Marriage Story. I don't have to run out to see. I just have to finish it on my Netflix at home. Ford versus Ferrari, going to be a little tough. Looks like it's already out of theaters for the most part. So, and I don't.
I feel like they have to have a screening at Regal or something like that. Like
this
don't
week they
use-
might jump
Yeah.
in and just drop them in. But like I was looking this week and I was like, I'm not driving out to Sun Valley to see Ford versus Ferrari.
Yeah, true.
At 9 p.m. No, thank you. Actually, I think it was like 10:40. It was 3:30, 10:40.
I'm kind of
like,
shocked that Ford v Ferrari even got nominated because Disney just like was like fuck Fox. Like it's just like, hey, you just bought a studio with a bunch of award-winning franchises and things that might actually win Oscars this year. It's like, nah, can't be bothered.
Nope. And I don't remember the other ones that we haven't seen.
Little Women.
Little Women we haven't. We could see that this week.
Yeah.
Is that it?
I think there was something else, but we're missing.
I haven't seen Harriet.
That's not nominated for Best Picture.
No, but it's
Cynthia
it's,
Erivo is nominated.
Yeah, it's for Best Actress. But anyway, so I'm going to make an effort to see some movies, and then hopefully we can do either a preview and a review, or like a recap, or just a recap show with Jim. So look for that. But
yeah, the only ones I haven't seen are Little Women and Ford v Ferrari.
hang on.
And then you haven't seen Marriage Story, right?
Yes, the only one I haven't seen other than those two are Marriage Story.
Yeah.
So,
But
yeah,
everything else you've seen.
we both saw 1917, and
Yeah.
wow.
Do you have while we're in the prediction business here,
Yeah.
do you have a thought on where Best Picture is going to go?
Well, I do know an industry insider who does movie reviews, and he has eroded my confidence in 1917 being Best Picture. I don't know. If it was 10 years from now, I would say that Joker was a shoo-in, because I think the age of the Academy would be such that people would be like, this is the picture. But I don't think we're there yet, and maybe not even 10 years, maybe 20 years. Maybe when we are the age of Academy voters,
Yeah.
and we'd see something so different like Joker, we'd be like,
See,
no,
but
let's just do it.
I think part of the problem with Joker is that, and I said this when I did the review of it originally, and I said it could be, I could see how it could be nominated for a lot of things, but I could also see how it could be nominated for almost nothing.
Yeah.
Because it's so divisive, it seems like, between the film community in terms of both the people inside of the community and the like reviewers and stuff like that, which have an outsized influence on
Yeah.
how people feel.
Yeah.
Like when all you're hearing is like Variety says like, like Joker's a fucking joke or something.
Yeah.
Like it's hard for that not to like get passed around town kind of thing,
Yeah. I mean,
I
I really like Parasite too, but I think the same problem where it's like different, and that's why I liked it. But I don't know if the Academy is gonna like it the same way that I did.
Yeah, I mean, I also think that there's still sort of a like, even though Roma was considered a foreign film and nominated for Best Picture a year ago, right? Or 2 years ago? I can't remember when Roma.
Yeah, it was 2 years ago we watched it, but it was in the Oscars.
Okay,
a year ago.
I mean, like, I just feel like there's still sort of a stigma of having like a foreign film win Best Picture.
Yeah.
Because I mean, like, so here's the problem. You got to think about this like politically to a degree, because most of the people who are voting on the Academy Awards, while they enjoyed Parasite a lot, are also, American filmmakers for the most part, or work within the system that, America, Canada, England, like these sort of like, the Western film population live within. So there's more of an emphasis to want to reward films that are from the West. And just like there's more of a desire to reward films that are like traditionally released as opposed to Netflix or something like that, because they don't want to like give the gold stamp of approval to a Netflix movie. And even though they'll get a lot of votes for something like The Irishman or Marriage Story, it won't get enough votes to win because it'll still have that stigma attached to it. And sort of like a baseball player from the steroid era trying to go for the Hall of Fame. Like, there's a certain number of people who are just like, I'm not rewarding this on the base that it smells fishy, you know? Like,
but again, 20 or 30 years from now, when the Academy is completely different, it's going to be a whole different story, I think.
Media consumption is going to be different 10 years from now, with the way that streaming is projecting, and it's going to be interesting to see what happens with movie exhibition in theaters, just because, if the Paramount decree is just thrown out, then there's nothing stopping Disney from owning a theater chain, like buying Regal and just putting all of its movies in there. And it becomes more about like, oh, you have a Disney Plus membership, so you're also allowed to go see the new movie at the Regal Theater for, Toy Story 5 or whatever,
Yep. And then that just becomes receipts, right? And if you want to get a movie nominated, and you need to get a certain number of pictures, just put it in limited release.
I feel like just tangentially speaking, there's sort of more of an emphasis on creating atmospheres for things. And it's like, we went to the Breaking Bad experience.
Yep.
And it's sort of like, I imagine we're going to see more of those things kind of in line with things as they're live. Like, they did a Better Call Saul, like, was about to drop, and they opened up a El Pollo Hermanos like pop-up shop, Like,
I got delivery from it.
Right.
It was chicken.
And I think that like, as Netflix buys the Egyptian and stuff like that, it'll be like, I have a Netflix membership, so I go to the Egyptian to see the Netflix movies on a big screen, and I buy popcorn and, like food there and spend some time, and Netflix gets some money from the concessions. It's sort of like a straight exchange for me to go in and see the movie for free.
I mean, we've talked about it before. The money is not made by me going to the movie. The movie is made to the concessioner, if you will.
Yeah.
By me buying things at the movie.
Right.
Like, they lose out. AMC loses out if I go with my stubs and just see the movie and don't buy anything and then leave. What they want is, we'll give you the movie for relatively free.
Yeah.
Because you're going to spend $20 on soda and popcorn and candy while you're there, and then would that cost us $4? And
right.
We're going to make a big profit.
If it's more like a clubhouse where you go to, like have fun and like, maybe there's drinks afterward, like the bar at the ArcLight, you know, like it's a place to be before and after your movie.
Well, Alamo.
Yeah.
People go there and don't see a movie.
Yeah,
they go there and just hang out and then leave. And I don't understand that concept yet. But
I mean, like, it's a place where film people are. So you go there, you just hang out, you maybe meet somebody new and interesting, and that's how it goes. That's how.
But
that's the industry.
So what about? I mean, what it comes down to is my faith was still in 1917. Other than just because I don't know what else is going to beat it.
I mean, like, I feel like 1917 is sort of the preeminent front runner here.
Yeah.
I could see how Once Upon a Time in Hollywood could win, and I could see how Parasite could win, and I think there's like sort of an outside shot that Jojo Rabbit might sort of. If we're living in a world where those three get a lot of vote splitting, then maybe Jojo Rabbit's percentages are high enough to get it the win. But that to me feels like it's kind of way outside the box, Like, I don't really think that any of the other nominees are in the consideration of ones that could actually win. I mean, maybe it's like one of those things. If you're watching the Oscars and Joker is winning everything along the way, like if Lawrence Sher beats Roger Deakins for cinematography, or Todd Phillips beats Tarantino and Scorsese and Bong Joon-ho for director,
and Sam
Mendes, then you're gonna have to start seriously considering that this might be just like a Joker kind of night.
Yeah.
But that would be weird to me. I just feel like there's not enough like crazy love for it. Like the people who love it. The people who hate it really hate it. And that's kind of a dangerous like.
Sometimes you get those
place
things
to
too,
be.
where it's like just because Joaquin Phoenix wins does not mean that Joker's going to sweep. Because a lot of people might have said, "I'm giving my Joker love into this vote for Joaquin Phoenix, and then I'm going to give all of my Once Upon a Time in Hollywood love to Brad Pitt in the supporting role." And then I'm going to leave those two out when it comes to cinematography and Best Picture and Best Director. And
I mean, I think all the acting ones are pretty locked up because the same 4 people have basically been winning the whole time along.
Yeah.
I really hope that Deakins wins his second for 1917 because it was amazing and gorgeous and everything that you would want it to be.
And if you want to have a film festival, how about a Roger Deakins film festival where you just watch movies where he's done cinematography?
Yeah.
You will come out of that with a new appreciation for what that changes about a movie.
What, if anything, it'll make you go, how the fuck is he only won 2 Oscars?
Yeah.
That's the.
Well, because he does movies like Blade Runner, which are not going to win an Oscar, but
that's what he won his Oscar for.
I know, but I mean, I'm just saying, it's not going to be
like
Oscar
you watch
nomination.
No Country for Old Men, and you're just like, what the fuck? What else came out this year? Like, what did I miss?
Well, because people don't understand what cinematography is, number one, and it's a bunch of people who are. I mean, the Academy is a lot of SAG, mostly SAG, and they're just like
actors are the biggest group
Yeah.
of any of the Academy voters.
And like cinematography, you mean the guy behind the camera who's not the director? I don't care about that guy. What's the difference?
You mean the guy who's sitting on the chair with the crank going crack, 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 crack.
Wait, well, I know the
What
Academy
kind
members
of
are old.
movies are you doing?
I don't think they're that old.
Back in my day, they'd have to stop after 10 minutes and put more film in there.
Thanks. That might be my second favorite character that you do after the slightly gay Southern gentleman.
What, Lindsey Graham?
Oh, yes. After Lindsey Graham, it's the actress who is just appalled at everything that's going on in Hollywood.
Somebody powder my wig and bring me some cocaine.
Whoa! All right, we jumped a couple decades. I don't know what happened there. But anyway, before we get out, I do want to talk about Fast and Furious 9.
She's still alive. She's still alive today. That woman.
Still voting in the Academy. So
I ain't never gonna vote for Brad Pitt. He's too dark. That hand ain't natural.
So Fast and Furious 9. I avoided the trailer all week, but then I was forced to watch it by Corey before we came on.
Roberto is the evil ringleader of this one.
It is just as appalling as I thought it might be. It defies the laws of physics.
Nature.
As much as I thought it would. But oh boy, did you have some comments? Anything you'd like to throw in about Fast and the Furious 9? Well, one, go watch the trailer. I find that I probably shouldn't be laughing at an action movie trailer, but to me, it's going to turn into a comedy.
I mean, here's the problem. People are going to fucking see it. And
yes.
we're
going to see it.
I'm not going to see it.
You're not going to go see that?
No, I'm not going to. I
right.
can't.
It'll be me and
just
Roberto.
can't. I can't do it. I just desperately would like a real action movie. Like, there were so many action movies that were realistic enough.
Mm-hmm.
Like, the stunts were maybe a little exaggerated from real life, but it's the type of thing like
Once Upon a Time in Hollywood.
Yeah,
he punches a dude into a car. It's a little much, but maybe he's a powerful guy. I don't know.
But the problem is that these are just ridiculous. Like when the suspension bridge becomes disconnected and the Jeep is still rolling up.
Well,
like
the tires are still in contact.
That does
with the
not
bridge
give it traction. That
surface.
does not give the car traction. Or the number of times I watch a Fast and the Furious movie and I'm just like, there was a stunt in Fast and the Furious 2 where they jump the car onto the yacht while it's trying to like float away, right? And at the end of it, both Tyrese and what are you doing?
We have an off the camera distraction.
The fact that at the end of it, Paul Walker and Tyrese were like getting out of the car that just jumped on the yacht, and they're just like, I think I broke my arm. I think my shoulder's broken.
Yeah.
And that was the end of the movie. I was just like, okay, so at least they realized that if they did something so stupid, there would be some sort of consequence.
Yes.
Vin Diesel's just driving off the side of a cliff, like hoping that his tire gets caught in a line.
No,
It's
he
just like-
knew because he's smart, Corey.
But like if you gave a stuntman 100 tries to do that, and under the assumption that you don't care if you kill stuntmen while you're failing,
Can we get another stunt man? Another car, another stunt man, please. Let's go.
The guy who's like 67 in lines is like, oh God. 55 people have died before me.
Maybe they'll get it this time.
Why can't we just do this in CGI?
It's too expensive in CGI. We pay you guys $100 a day. Next.
You also know the side of a pretty bad movie when they have to put in single lines of dialogue to explain the stupid thing that just happened. Like when Vin Diesel just straight flies off a cliff, and then a magnet plane comes pick him up. And
That's John Cena, not Vin Diesel.
Was it ludicrous? It was just like, did they got a magnet plane? Like, what? Why? Or like, he's your brother. It's just like that. None of that.
Oh man, I am gonna go.
All I'm
gonna
saying
laugh
is
all
for-
my way through.
All I'm saying is for all you libs out there who are going to go enjoy Fast and the Furious thinking that it's no harm, no foul, you're the ones who are causing the rise of Trump. Because the people who like this movie are the same people who like fucking think that Trump is right and this is a whole like railroading experience and like blah blah blah.
Corey, you've had a distinguished career. I want to go back to episode 304 of your podcast where you blamed liberal America going to see Fast and the Furious for the rise of Trump. How do you feel about that?
I stand by it. I was there. I know what it was like.
You don't know, James Lipton. You don't know. You don't know what we were going through then. Anyway, so
You may have really visited the darkness. I lived in it. Anyway, that's enough Fast and Furious.
the older you get, the more you start to recognize Bane as the hero of that movie. It's like, damn you, Batman, for getting in the way of everything. He was making a better society. I will not condone the murder of the bourgeoisie. I will participate in it. That was on my Instagram story today. I'm waiting to see how the reaction tomorrow at work goes. Anyway, so a lot of news.
The bourgeoisie visit you.
I mean, I work for a lot of capitalists, so
Yeah.
anyway, not a news this week.
Just tell them it
Transition
was
man.
art. That's what I do.
Tell them what?
It was art.
Oh yeah, sure, yeah. It was art. Hey, but I followed that up with an Instagram story that was Goldilocks, the bears from Goldilocks, the mother bear saying, "Oh, somebody's been sleeping in my bed," and Papa Bear being like, "Yeah, who isn't?" And then them starting an argument instead of in front of Baby Bear. Like, come on, none of this is serious. Bourgeoisie is serious. So anyway, news: coronavirus is out and it's killing people. And everyone in California is wearing around masks. I would like to point out to people, a lot of you are wearing masks, and I know it makes you feel better, and that's fine. But most of you are wearing masks, which will not help defend you from a virus.
You're basically wearing a tissue in front of your mouth.
Yeah, and so I was mentioning someone about that because somebody at work came in with their own mask because we tried to order some because it's to make the peons feel better. I tried to order them and they were sold out everywhere, and I was like, guys, we got some coming in, but we had to order them from Amazon. It's gonna be 3 days or whatever. We'll get them in. So people came in with their own. And most of them are the surgical masks, which have yes, they cover the face, but they have a gap over here.
Yeah.
And that just means that the virus can just go in to the sides.
And then settle inside of the mask.
And then you just breathe it in repeatedly. And somebody did justify to me. They said, it's so if somebody coughs on me, that it's blocking the liquid from the cough to get in my mouth. And I'm like, okay, I justify that because
I guess it's better than nothing.
Better than nothing, yes.
Yeah.
But most of those aren't going to protect you from just walking around in public. Then I saw somebody with a Bane mask on, and I'm like, that guy knows what's up. He's got it.
Well, finally, an opportunity for you to wear your gas mask to work.
I'm not allowed to, by the way. I was told after I was made to order these masks for everybody else, then I got the little aside like, yeah, by the way, you probably can't wear one. I'm like, what? I said, well, we don't want to frighten everybody. And I'm like, You're making me buy the mask because everyone's frightened, but I can't wear one because it'll frighten everybody. Yeah. And said
Listen,
to me
the
as
building-
they slapped the mask on their own face.
The building's on fire. We'd really like you to stay in the lobby and play some music on the cello while
Basically.
just letting people know it's going to be okay.
Basically.
Let's skip ahead a little bit here. I would like to get to impeachment stuff first before we run out of time.
Well, coronavirus is serious. It's going to kill a bunch of people. It's more dangerous than SARS. They said they have a vaccine. They're lying to you. We're all going to die. All right. Skipping on down to the impeachment.
This week in the impeachment has been
This week in impeachment.
has been one of the most fascinating things I've ever seen in my entire life. And the fucking blind faith that some of these Republican senators have is just amazing to me. Because what the fuck? John Bolton has written this book. And how is there not a chance that 2 months from now or whatever, when it's like finally released and people get to read it, that there's not more scintillating data or more scintillating stories in there that would make you really regret your decision to just blindly stand by the president? I feel like I don't understand how I wouldn't just want to have the opportunity to talk to a couple people, like.
Well, so here's the problem. As GOP superstar Lev Parnas mentioned to us this week, Lindsey Graham apparently had personal knowledge of everything going on in Ukraine.
Yeah.
How many of those senators also had personal knowledge? And if witnesses are called, names of the people sitting in front of them are going to be mentioned. And maybe they don't want to be mentioned. So let's just say you were part of a conspiracy
Yeah.
to commit murder.
Okay.
And I was part of that conspiracy as well. Who is the number one person you would want on your jury for your murder trial?
You?
Of course you would. Because I'm going to be up there like, well, you know what, guys? I don't think any wrongdoing
I don't think
was
the
even done
timeline
here.
makes sense.
I don't think any wrongdoing was done. I don't even know why we're having this trial. Let's just cut this thing short. Witnesses? I don't need to hear from any witnesses. I think I've heard enough. Let's just wrap this thing up. So yeah, that's what they're doing.
To me, the funniest thing of it all is that Mitt Romney, who literally 8 years ago was the presidential nominee for the Republican Party,
Yep.
is uninvited from CPAC,
Yep.
the Conservative Political Action Committee get together, where all the right wing nuts get together and take over the, what is it, Bethesda or National Harbor or something like that.
You're mischaracterizing it. It's where all the right-wing nuts in government get together and are told by all the right-wing nuts in business what they need to be doing for the next year. Yes.
And
They
the
take over a
NRA
hotel,
is there, and
They get their marching orders. They sacrifice young, pure white children to whatever god it is that they worship, and then they all go home.
they have Alex Jones in an ancillary room talking about the frogs.
Yeah, I mean, just on camera. Every once in a while, all right, guys, a little bit of a comedy break here. Let's go to the Alex Jones cam. And the frogs, man, we're making the frogs gay. Thanks, Alex.
Thanks for making us feel better about ourselves.
All right, now, how are we going to murder more brown children? Come on, anybody got any ideas? All right, we're going to tell you.
So, getting back into the impeachment stuff here. So, to me, some of the most dangerous things that have been said by lawyers have been sort of said this week. And Dershowitz is right there at the top of this list with basically parroting Nixon's, if the president does it, it can't be illegal.
Yeah.
And going even further by saying that, what was the exact quote? It was like, if the president, oh God, I don't want to get this wrong. I just want to get it.
Go ahead and look it up. But he was answering a question from Ted Cruz, which the Senate, they asked these questions to the lawyers, which are completely staged. It's like, here, we need you to ask this question so we can make this point that we want to make. And you said last week, oh, we haven't heard from Ted Cruz in a while. And then, of course, they found a way to make Ted Cruz be on the news where he said some of the dumbest shit I have heard from a person in government in a long time.
Jody Ernst, too, was there was a camera set up and she was trying to make her way to the front. She's just like, well, the people of Iowa are going to have an opportunity to talk whether or not they think Joe Biden is corrupt this weekend when they vote. And I'm just like, shut the fuck up. It's nothing to do with
You know what? The people of Iowa would love to vote on a Republican as well, but it turns out you guys kind of shut that shit right down and said no one but the president on the ballot. So nothing to say about that. But Ted Cruz asked a question, does it matter if the president gave a quid pro quo, if there was no quo, or if the person who he made the offer to wasn't aware that it was a quid pro quo? And Alan Dershowitz goes on this rant, just basically if the president does it, it's not a crime, and if the other party's not aware, and even if they were aware, it doesn't matter. Because if he used the example from Lincoln. If Lincoln moved troops into Indiana and settled them there, but settled them meaning like stationed them there, and if your official marching orders move you to a place, that is where you are registered to vote for purposes of the military.
Goddamn, every article I click on is just reaction to what Dershowitz said and not the actual quote.
Yeah.
I hate this.
But he said, let's say the Republicans wanted to win Indiana, and Lincoln found that it was in the national security for him to be reelected. And then he moved, by the way, invoking Lincoln, who would not be a Republican today, but nonetheless.
No, not at all.
And Lincoln moved 1 million troops into Indiana so that they would be stationed there and thus vote there because he knows that they're going to vote for him, and that sways the election in his favor. Well, he did that in national security interest, not national security of defending the nation, but of getting him reelected. And therefore, his reelection being a part of national security, in his opinion, is in his ability to do as the president, and that decision is sound. And what?
Yeah, it's just...
Everything that the president does is a sound decision so long as he believes it's in the national interest.
Yeah.
And that's true even if, like Lincoln, the brain has been blasted out of his skull, or like Trump, he didn't have one there to begin with.
I mean, just the question that makes me, that I keep coming to in my mind is, what is impeachable? Just much like... I hear a lot of people on the left talking about like, well, what can we do? What can we do about all like the Senate and stuff like that? I'm just like, well, I mean, there's protections in the Constitution that allow you to violently overthrow the government if you want to. At what point is that your line? Like, at what point do you say we've reached that point, right? And I'm not like Rob over here with the thumbs up.
This week.
I'm not saying that we do it, but I'm saying at what point does it rise to it? And the same thing will come with the impeachment of Trump or any actions of Trump. At what point is this just like, if we found out that Trump wanted to have these meetings with Kim Jong-un because he wanted to get a $5 billion real estate deal in North Korea for Trump hotels when he's out of office, and that's a clear emoluments clause violation, if there ever was one, then is that the point where you say like, oh, well, now he's gone too far? Like,
well, the problem here, Corey, is you're trying to make a bright line rule. And as we've been made clear over these impeachment proceedings, if it's a Democratic president, a sand-colored suit is enough to start impeachment proceedings. If it's a Republican president, well, nothing that the president does is impeachable. Any decision he makes is within his purview. And not only that, but we get to argue both sides of the fence. Because as Adam Schiff pointed out this week, the Trump attorneys in front of the Supreme Court can make the argument that the president should be allowed to do whatever he wants because...
Well, that's... yeah, so this whole thing is just fucking maddening because the House was trying to get testimony from, like Mick Mulvaney and Bolton and all these people, and the White House in court was making the argument that because the impeachment process has started, there's no reason for the court to judge whether or not they have the right to serve these subpoenas because it's already in process and the Senate will take care of it when it gets there.
Right.
And then the argument that Trump's lawyers were making, the same lawyers, by the way, who were arguing in the court, were saying that once it was in the Senate, this is not the appropriate venue for this conversation. It should be happening because of subpoenas issued in the House and not be brought in as new witnesses in the Senate. It's just... unbelievable. Like,
but that's the specifics. They were overarchingly arguing that whatever the president does in court, whatever the president does, he is subject to an overarching power by Congress that the impeachment process must be allowed to include witnesses. It must be allowed to include all of these things.
I mean, the obstruction of Congress part was basically because they wouldn't play ball. They wouldn't allow for any witnesses to be brought in front of and they were obstructing the investigation of Congress into this whole situation.
Essentially, this would be as if I was representing the state and the defendant at the same time in a civil lawsuit. So I am on one side of the aisle. I'm over there.
You're on side of the of Honda and the mother whose child died because the airbag exploded.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I'm making two exactly opposite arguments in two different courtrooms across the hall from each other, depending who is standing next to me at the time. Now, in this case, it's both the president, although in one of these cases, it's supposed to be the American people, not the president. You represent the White House, not the man in the White House. But in the other, in court, he's actually representing the president, Donald Trump, not the office of the president. It is goddamn ridiculous. I cannot. And you were saying in the pre-show meeting, Adam Schiff has shown himself to be way more impressive than I thought he was going into all this. I thought he was going to punt this thing, and he has laid out illustriously the entire case. He's done everything he can do to set little man traps along the way that they just walked right the fuck into.
Yeah.
And
the fact that we are even having a reasonable discussion about whether or not they were going to allow witnesses is mostly because Adam Schiff was putting on a masterclass of arguing his case in front of the Senate here. And
they had the vote.
Yeah.
And we're not having witnesses.
Yeah.
Failed by 2 votes.
Yeah. And you know what? I was reading through Lamar Alexander's like why I'm voting no thing.
Yeah.
And like it just doesn't make any, too many of these statements don't make any goddamn sense, where it's just like, while I think the president did something wrong, I don't think it's impeachable, and I don't think we should have witnesses to find out how unimpeachable it is. You know, like
I don't want to find out how unimpeachable the offense is. It's a waste of everyone's time.
Yeah.
So accurately, the Wikipedia entry for United States Senate has been updated. It was updated on Thursday after that vote. It now reads, the United States Senate was formerly the upper chamber of the United States Congress, which along with the blah, 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 comprised the legislature of the United States. It died on January 31st, 2020, when senators from the Republican Party refused to stand up to a corrupt autocrat calling himself the President of the United States, lowercase p, refusing to hear testimony that said individual blackmailed Ukraine in order to cheat in the 2020 election. Which is pretty goddamn accurate. And as you said again on our walk up here, at some point, these guys just have to say, you know what, we're not Republicans anymore. We're just going to start a new party.
They should. I really, most of what you sort of were talking a little bit about whether or not there will ever be a Democratic president again. And of course there will. At some point there will.
I mean,
but
there is no guarantee of that at this
point.
No
guarantee, but I'm saying, like, I think the best hope that the Democrats have of like some sort of power that will be able to change things significantly to like get to 60 votes even would have to involve the Republican Party splitting off into a Trump party and a Mitt Romney style party of like traditional Republicans, and then basically it becomes a 3-party system where 2 right-wing parties are dueling it out all the time, and the Democrats.
But you're assuming a lot of things about the Democrats, like it would be the idea of like how Fox News became so popular because there were so many left-leaning media outlets out there and no right-leaning one. Yeah. And once one right-leaning one came in, and it was 1 right versus 3 left. It became this one's getting the biggest audience because this one's split in between it's half, you know? But we have Bernie, who is very clearly leading the horse race on the left.
Yeah.
But everything which seems very Clintonite behind it is doing everything they can to railroad that
including Hillary herself. What the fuck, Hillary? I mean, like...
Go the fuck home, bitch!
You know, every once in a while, like I listened to Hillary's interview on Stern. And, you know, she's when she wants to be, she's very engaging and she's very fun to listen to. And she seems like a perfectly fine person who I don't want to be president of the United States.
Yes, ever. Thank you.
But just getting involved and just being like, well, nobody likes Bernie and I don't think he should win. Like, don't do that now. Like, do you see Obama going out there and just being like, hey, did you hear Pete Buttigieg is gay? I guess we shouldn't vote for him. Like, no, he doesn't want to step in these traps. He doesn't want to
or, by the way, his guy is running. You haven't even seen him come out and be like, that's my guy. That's my guy right there.
Y'all know Joe?
Yeah. Come on, Uncle Joe.
I know Joe.
Yeah, we all got a creepy uncle. Doesn't mean he's ain't doing anything wrong. Come on, vote for Joe.
He's done right for us.
Yeah. None of that.
Yeah.
Or by the way, come out and said, Pete is our guy for the future. We need a center of the road guy who's not a Clintonite.
Yeah.
Pete's our guy. which he could do because
Yeah.
I think that he
At
knows
any
that's
point,
what we
if any
need.
point, if all you would have to do is just tweet like "I heart Pete Buttigieg" and it would all be over.
Boom,
like
done.
you don't even need to like do anything. Like that
Okay,
would
wait.
speak enough. Like
White hat hackers, Obama Twitter account, I heart Pete, Team Pete, hashtag Team Pete. We need that to happen like right before the Iowa caucus, please.
See, the problem is that you put that into the universe, but the only people who are hacking in are the Andrew Yang people because the
that's true.
Yang gang is fucking strong on the internet.
I
Have you
hate
ever?
Andrew Yang so much? Yeah,
You
the
know-
Reddit. It's all over Reddit. Yeah.
It's so weird. I really like Andrew Yang the person. I don't want him to be president.
I don't, no.
I think he's very nice and very smart, and he's really got it all figured out. But like the universal basic income is just not. It will not and cannot be the center point of a election.
Also,
campaign.
you have to know more than UBI. You can't just go out there and be like, well, let me tell you, the answer to Social Security, UBI. It's not. No, it's not. You have to have other answers.
Andrew Yang, Saudi Arabia killed Jamal Khashoggi, and now we're selling him nuclear information. What do you think is the way around this potential fire can of controversy? Well, I think the universal basic income.
No, no, that's not the answer, Andrew.
If you had an extra $1,000 a month, you'd be able to not have to worry about Saudi Arabia.
But so what my point of that was that I feel like if Bernie gets railroaded yet again,
Yeah.
there will be a split in the left party as well.
Yeah.
Which I'm not saying is a bad thing because ideally 4, 5, 6 parties that have to say, in order to get to 51 votes,
Yeah.
we got to come together on some shit is
Yeah,
the way
let-
that things get done.
The more we could be like Ireland with their 97 political parties.
Okay, that's a little much. Little much. Italy's got like 45 and they can't get anything done. But you get like France or Germany that has 4 or 5 major parties.
Yeah.
Their government is always made up of a group of 2 or 3 coming together to say, we got more in common than we have differences.
Yeah.
I'm going to give up on these 3 points of my platform. You give up on those 2. Let's make a government. And there always are going to be, center, center left, center right, although European center right, not
Yeah.
like crazy Nazis. But that's where the
Center right is basically Hillary Clinton.
Yeah.
And American.
No, because Hillary Clinton is center right. European center right is like Pete
Pete
Buttigieg.
Buttigieg.
Yeah, like, really? That's kind of where it is. Like a little further left than Hillary.
To think that Pete Buttigieg is the Mitt Romney of Europe is kind of.
That's a little much, yeah. But if you ask anybody of any of like Hillary Clinton's campaign promises, they're like, "Oh no, you can't talk about that in Germany. It's illegal to. We have laws against that. No Nazis. Sorry, no." And then everything to the right now is just like faux pas, frowned upon. Cannot do that. Sorry, but that's the way it should be. We shouldn't have 2 parties because this is what happens. You get locked into this nonsense of like, well, the president did something wrong. No, he didn't.
The guy on my team is not winning right now.
That's
I need to help my guy win. Like,
And more importantly, because there are only 2 teams, if it's my guy on my team, I most likely have something to do with it. Whereas if we had 2 or 3 right-wing parties, Lindsey Graham might not be on his party.
Yeah.
Might not be on his team. It might not be the one saying like, well, I got myself involved in this nonsense, so now I got to ride this ship till it's under the waves. Sorry. And the Senate isn't made up of where 2 votes fails witnesses. Like that should not be the way that it is. But
Yeah.
that's where we are. Funny side note, just for a little comic relief. You know how we spent $1 billion increasing the border wall? A couple pieces of it fell over in a high wind this week.
yeah.
Turns out
On
the border
the
wall.
Mexico side too, by the way.
Yeah, onto Mexico's trees, which gives them, by the way, cause to sue us in the international court for damages.
I love it. I love it.
The border wall, just as flimsy as the guy who suggested it.
I just like to imagine that they just have some like tank-looking Mexican guy who just like when the border wall goes up, it's just like, all right, run into it really hard.
Let's just test it.
The
Let's
whole
see how-
thing just falls over. They're all charging over the fence like.
And listen, as pointless as I think it is, caucus in Iowa this week. So if you live in Iowa, go caucus.
Yeah.
And caucus for Pete Buttigieg. There
I
you
mean,
go.
I do, as completely unreasonable it would be in anywhere else in the country, I really do like the Iowa caucus because So basically how it works, just quick explainer for people who don't know. There's a 15% viability threshold.
Yeah.
And that is kind of a loose number based off of how many people you have in your town, because some of them have 20 people getting together.
So it's hard to...
It's hard to say 15% is the straight clear number.
Yeah.
But basically every candidate will, you'll go into the corner where your candidate is, and if you don't have 15%, then your candidate is eliminated, and then you can either choose to go home or go to another candidate.
Yep.
So second choices and third choices in some cases are really important, which is why in Iowa you don't see so much negative campaigning, or why people will sort of get booted right away if they go negative, because you want to be someone's second choice, even if you were a Cory Booker supporter and you were ready to caucus for Cory Booker, and now you're left in the cold, you have to think about who my second choice is. And say
Also,
you go to Klobuchar and she doesn't make it, then you got to go, okay, who's my third? I think this Pete guy's good.
Booker may get some votes, because there may be people who are going to make I stand with Booker no matter what.
Yeah.
And they will caucus for him even though there's no official
maybe
caucus.
even a first ballot. We're making
I'm making a
effort,
stance here just to say. And then because as the caucuser, Cory's not even on the ballot anymore, and they're not going to hit 15%. So when they eliminate him, because he's already eliminated himself, you then get to go and vote for your second choice. But you get to make a stand and say, hey, Cory, if you'd stayed in it, well, you have people here in Iowa. So you can go and do that. But if you're in Iowa, go caucus. Also, if you're with Team Pete, guys, I'm getting the text. I'm just telling you, you don't want me making calls for you in Nevada. I'm doing you a favor by not texting you back. You don't want me making calls. I love Pete. I just don't love the process. So
yeah.
Really? Right?
You're just gonna be calling up people you know what? I don't think you should vote. I think it's bad for you, but I guess if you're gonna do it anyway, you might as well do it for Pete.
You know what? Now that I got your number, I'm gonna text you plans on building a guillotine. Let's all meet in the town square right there in Jefferson City. Is it Jefferson City? Carson City. And probably should know what state I'm calling. Carson City. And let's just build a big one out there on town square. I think it'll send a message. Yep. We're on the left, right? This is what leftist people do.
Just mispronounce Nevada every time.
Nevada?
Yeah.
I am with the people of Nevada. I think Pete is with the people of Nevada as well. And Pete really backs guillotines. He is saying, let's all get together and build guillotines.
I don't know if this is Pete's platform.
You know what platform Pete's for? The one a guillotine's built on. That's the platform he is built on.
There's a lot of people calling up CNN going the Pete people are getting awfully aggressive.
It's sounding a little bit like the French Revolution over here. Talking about blood in the streets and guillotines. Yes.
Well,
there's one. We located it. There was one guy. He was very upset about the multiple text messages that we were sending him. He's off our list. He won't be making any calls anymore.
There's lots more stuff that we could talk about this week, but unfortunately the Super Bowl has just kicked off, so we got to wrap this up.
Yes.
If you want to know where you can go for other things not related to the Super Bowl, you know where you can go?
Where is that?
OTheAnthem.com. Core to OTheAnthem.com. OTheAnthem on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and the listener line, 443-219-7595.
What's that number again?
443-219-7595. You can find more of me at my website, CoreyBakerFilmmaker.com, Facebook.com/CoreyBakerFilm, and at LegendsB5 on Twitter, Instagram, Snapchat. The 1917 review is up.
Mm-hmm.
I will be off this feature. I'll be free as of Wednesday, so I hope to see another movie to have up for Thursday review and hopefully catch up on all the Best Picture nominees by then. And yeah, that's pretty much about it for me.
All right. And of course, you can find more of me at Robert N. Cheek on all your social networks right there.
Mm-hmm.
Where you can get more fun, entertaining content like Mama Bear being called out for being a whore and condoning the bourgeoisie. Make sure you check out robertandcheek.com where you can find links to my everything, including the books that are available on Amazon.
Buy our books.
And 1917 review is also up, apparently. I heard tell that maybe it's not, so I'm going to check on that today. Another review coming today for Brawl in Cell Block 99, which is an older movie from the director of Bone Tomahawk. Did you ever watch Bone Tomahawk?
No.
Highly recommend Bone Tomahawk. See what I thought about Brawl in Cell Block 99. But that's up this week. 2 more movies coming this week as well. Doolittle coming up on Thursday.
Did you like Doolittle?
Yo, have to see you on Thursday. I have thoughts on Doolittle on Thursday.
I know Rachel is just like, I'd see it again. And I'm just like, really? That's not the same reaction I've gotten from most people seeing that movie, but
Check out the review on Thursday. But if you guys ever question how much we love bringing this show to you every single week, new live content, 304 weeks in a row, we just missed Super Bowl kickoff for you.
yeah. So it's all
Anyway.
right, though. It's all right. My love for you knows no bounds. So
Never
thank you,
knows a
audience.
bound. Yes. So
Yeah. Well, that I think we've done good here today.
we've done something. I don't know if it's good, except for the guillotines. Guillotines are always good. But as always, you're listening to the Oh the Anthem podcast, part of the Oh the Anthem digital network. For Corey, this is Rob. Have a great week, everybody.
Go Chiefs or Niners. I don't care. Whatever.
Oh, join us after. You know what? Let's go live. Let's do it. Let's do it live.
Okay.
Yeah, fuck it. I'll be drunk. But join us live for a little update after the show, so keep an eye out for the notification for that. Have a great week, everybody.
Arrivederci.